I'm ready.
Are you quite finished?
I'm quite finished.
Are you sure you're ready?
I think so.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. I know there's a graphic around here for that, but that's just because I'm important and I have to have a lower third. I have to have a banner. I have to make sure everybody knows who I am. Unfortunately, you're underneath my name. What is wrong with you? Because we know you're not me.
No, I'm not you.
You the Maz.
Hey, that's me.
He's the Maz. Stop looking at the monitor. All the people are over there.
I know. I was just looking at the lines going up and down. It's mesmerizing.
Well, we're a little cantankerous today because, man, there has been a lot going on across a broad spectrum. There was so much going on. We came in and we chopped it up really quick, and we chopped it up so quick, even though there was a lot going on and there's a lot to get to because we're doing fantasy football, by the way.
It's coming.
We're going to be doing that after the break instead of the walk off. It's going to get nuts, but and that's the reason why we're going to get to the news really quick. But we were chopping it up so much going on, so many major stories going on so fast that we ran off into Area 51.
We did have a slight discussion on that. Yeah. But you know what? We were excited. We were like,
yeah,
wow, you like that too?
You gonna go?
I want to go.
You gonna go? You gonna go? Sometime in September. I will say this. I am going to Nevada in late September.
You probably shouldn't say any more.
Yeah. I am, though. I'm going to Nevada. I'm going to Las Vegas. September 21st. Just Las Vegas.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
Listen, the last guy that tried to get over and through the fence at Area 51 got shot.
Yeah, well, here's what my suggestion would be, is if you happen to find yourself outside of Vegas around that time, get in the back. Because, yeah, I mean way in the back. Because they could probably pick you off.
I'm here to storm it.
They could pick you off.
No, don't shoot me.
Through the crowd.
Right here.
Yeah.
Be sure to like and follow Gonzo Radio Podcast.
Your first question
RUFKM.
should be, where can I stand? And that's all. And let everybody else just go have at it.
It's like, okay.
Is this okay back here?
Sergeant, is it? Staff sergeant?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, guy with a big gun. Yeah, where do you want me to stand? No, don't stand here. Okay, stand back.
What's the over-under on campers leading up to the week
There's going to be a bunch.
to the raid?
There's going to be a bunch.
Yeah.
It's going to get so bad that they're going to have to go designate it. Listen, I'm going to talk about this on tomorrow night.
Picturing a scene from Independence Day when they're all coming over the ridge, all of the RVs and other vehicles.
Now you have to watch the show tomorrow because I'm going to rip that clip. It's going to happen.
Yes, that is the biggest scene right there of the movie.
Crap.
It's time for a whooping.
Sure you don't want to do the show tomorrow night too? No, you
find me. Find me.
I'll
Yeah,
call you.
find me.
No, I have a hilarious comedian, this guy Jesse Cohen. It's not just because it's really convenient that he lives like about 3/4 of a mile away. A guy named Cohen living in West Boca, what a shock.
Probably the only one.
But yeah, the only one.
Yeah.
He's the only one. But he's going to be on tomorrow night. I don't know, maybe if we get to chopping it up on aliens, I may have to call you in.
I'm totally available.
But we don't have, an hour plus here. We've
right.
got a really short attention span for this one.
Okay.
Okay, so we got to get to the big news.
Let's do it.
And I mean that big news involves these guys.
Another trade.
They're putting the band back together.
That's funny.
The band's getting back together.
They're apparently, now I'm going to just replay a quote for you that I heard from Kendrick Perkins. This is exact quote.
Yes, Kendrick Perkins, who would know? He would know.
He is a smart man. He tells it exactly how it is.
He was all three of their teammates for like 2 or 3 years.
His direct quote was, "Them boys are going to play well together." Yeah. So he thinks there is no blood feud between these guys. He thinks that they both wanted to play with each other and fast-track this entire thing to get it in motion, and never saw it coming. Didn't matter because they did, and they had it all planned out, and now they are 1-2 on OKC.
Everybody should be very, very afraid. I mean, listen, Russell Westbrook is going to the Hall of Fame. He is right now probably he's still riding the crest of his career, the crest of the high point of his career. He really is. I mean, he started off on a high point. I mean, what is it, year 2 when they went up against the Heat?
I agree. One second. Check your mic. Just somebody called and said your mic's not coming through.
My mic is not coming through. Why would my mic? Oh, you know what? Maybe because. Hey.
My dad just. Hey, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
He said your mic's not coming through.
But I'm loud, right?
Now you are. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm loud, right?
Right.
Well, anyway.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah. Well, it was his second year, I believe, that they took on the Heat in the finals.
Yes.
And, they've had a pretty high standard of play there, high level of play there in Oklahoma City for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and he's a guy who has now, for 2 years in a row, averaged a triple-double?
Fill in the stats, yeah. I mean, but okay, it may obviously his usage rate is going to go way down now that he's got another guy with a similar style of play as him.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see how these two ISO players are going to play together and be successful.
Yeah. I mean, and you talk about usage rate.
Yeah.
And what I see is, I see two players that know each other very well. I see two players that know what is expected of them. I see two players that can pick the team up and put them on their back. But I also see this man, because he somehow, for some strange reason, the sound thing, I was stuck on Russell Westbrook. But Russell Westbrook is not only going to make, if it's possible, to make Harden better, more efficient, okay, because he's going to handle the ball more.
If he does, it's going to be the first time. If that happens, then
Harden becomes a catch and shoot monster.
But Westbrook, there's going to have to be some more maturity on the court, because that's not been his shtick, is making guys around him better. It's been more of a selfish style of play. Harden doesn't need to be made any better. Harden's one of the top two scorers in the league. Westbrook may be the other one. That's not the issue. Scoring. The issue is going to be efficiency on the court. Yeah. And if they're putting up 120, are they giving up 125? So defense is going to come into question too. These guys aren't defensive stars at any point in their career, let alone towards the end.
I've always understood Russell Westbrook to be a decent defensive player, especially on the shot blocking end.
Well, this year maybe a little defensive better, but still, he's such a high energy guy. I think a lot of that comes from just grabbing boards, steals, stuff like that. So is he a bad defender? No, but they're not going to be known as a defensive team. Now, again, they've got other guys. They have other guys that can play defense. Now, last year, Houston played great defense. They Clint Capella and other guys that chipped in.
Because they had
one of the best.
They had Chris Paul,
one of the best point-on defenders. I
mean, seriously.
Yeah, but again, scoring is not going to be an issue for this team.
You like the WTF picture? Like, hey, the fuck?
He's like, did you know I was being moved, or did you know I was going to want to be moved, or?
And then this is some bullshit.
He's getting a lot of bad press lately too, isn't he?
Listen, he can get all the bad press he wants. You know why? Because he has an annual salary that is averaging out to be, $42 million a year?
But you know that this stuff bothers these
guys.
You
go play on the Washington Generals for $42 million a year. I'll do it with a smile.
It's to me, this is a huge risk.
He had his shots.
He's on the back end of his career, coming off of two major injuries.
So come retire in Miami.
Going to a team right now that's not going to be a contender. I don't. Where's the push going to come from for this guy? How do they give that sort of a deal to him?
Well, and listen, it's not like Oklahoma City is hurting for future draft choices.
They got 75 draft picks coming their way
in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And they own They own Houston's draft choices until 2030 or some crap.
You know what it was, I think? I think that they just had to show something back in return for Westbrook.
Sure.
Because at this point, most of the trades have been done. Most of the teams were in position moving forward. Westbrook wouldn't have fit in many situations. And if it was true, like they said, about Harden, being high on the recruiting trail, trying to get him over, clearly this is why it happened. Yeah. So, and they had to get something back. So, Paul was, obviously they had to clear cap space too. So that's why that took place. But Paul is not going to be very happy in OKC. I just can't see that working out. But we'll see.
Well,
there are many teams that pay too much for their guys.
And let me tell you, the first thing that popped into my head was, Miami should trade for him. But it's like, what do we have to trade them?
Yeah.
They're already loaded with young guys.
Let them develop.
And they're going to get younger.
I think what you're going to see this year is the Heat take a step forward and make the playoffs,
baby step forward,
and grow again this year. That's what you're looking for.
Was the over/under for wins 41? Which means 41 and 41.
But they had him as the 6th seed, which means they had guys in the playoffs in the East that were under 500. Yeah. So again, the East that's how it's going to be. If you get to 500, you're going to make certainly the playoffs in the East this year.
All you got to do is win 42 games.
Yeah, yeah.
You win 42 games in the West, you're a cellar dweller.
Yeah,
cellar dweller, because those guys are tearing it up, and then they come out East and they tear the East up. Well, they do. They eat our lunch in the regular season.
Yeah, but what counts is that big title in the end.
Yeah,
you got somebody from the East that won it this year. Yeah, but no, listen, in terms of records, regular season records, now how's this for a take? Is it possible this year, as good as the West is, that there's a little attrition along the way, that come playoff time, maybe the East maybe has a little bit of an advantage, maybe a little easier road to get to the finals?
Age and injury?
That, also just the fact, the style of play, pace.
The Miami Heat sent Hassan Whiteside out to Portland. That kind of slows them down a
Well,
little.
you're just going to have a lot of moving parts in the West, game after game, high-scoring games, a lot of high-energy games. Obviously, more talent, more effort. And all I'm saying is I just think the road for the East, whoever is represented come final time, or certainly late in the playoffs, maybe they won't have that tough of a road they had to choose to get there. Maybe it would have been a little easier,
Well, here's a good question. First of all, I want to know what we've left the air conditioner on. We're having all kinds of sound problems. I'm wondering if the air conditioner, if the AC is heard. Let me check on the chat room too, because I'm sure I'm sitting here ignorantly not paying attention. We had a lot to talk about. What
Listen,
do you want?
If they hear our AC, then they know we're cool.
Oh, that's
It works.
I'd like to apologize for my colleague. He's silly like that, but let me turn this down because it's totally unprofessional to have that loud and hear myself in an echo. Wow. So, hey, we're on fire with the chat. Here we go. Okay. So, well, hopefully, we'll find out sooner or later. Where were we again?
We're talking about the NBA.
Coming to the end of the talk about the NBA.
Yes. And you mentioned the Heat and about how, in terms of a young team and falling into the 6th seed, potentially the way projections have been laid out for us going into the season.
If they want to do further damage to the West, they managed to somehow work out a swap of Goran Dragic for Chris Paul. Work out a swap for Chris Paul where it doesn't cost them too much young talent, and you get rid of some of the larger contracts. Yeah, but tell them to take Ryan Anderson and Goran Dragic.
Chris Paul doesn't fit into the scheme at all. I mean, in terms of getting a guy like that here for the Heat.
Well, he's a ball distributor.
I know, but I'm worried about effort. I'm worried about a guy that is on the back end of his career that's clearly not going to live up to anything maybe past 1 year, if he can give you that. I don't know. If the Heat are young, let him stay young, and let him just move forward, hopefully, and let these guys develop and kind of see where things roll out.
I do say that it would be you could find worse role models for our young drafty point guard Hero. I love that name, Hero.
He's a hero.
He is.
That's awesome.
He's been tearing the summer league up.
Yes, he has been.
This is next level. No, son, that's about a third above college.
Yeah, you know what?
A third of a level above college.
I've actually watched a few of the games, not from start to finish, but a good
Right.
parts of them.
Yep.
They're fun. They're high energy, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are all want jobs,
Of course.
and who's getting, held on to teams and who's going to make the team still. A lot of roster spots up for grabs.
If anybody's over the age of 22, they're already a nobody.
Yeah, it's insane.
They're trying real hard to get back in or
yeah,
get in.
it's insane.
Guys that went over and played in Hungary, played in the Chinese league.
Yeah.
Did you hear Stoudemire? Which Stoudemire was it again? It wasn't Damon Stoudemire. It was
Amari
Stoudemire wants to make a comeback.
He's what, 45 maybe?
No, he's like 40. He's not that old.
Really?
Yeah, he started playing when he was like 19.
You know what? I kind of remember him leaving a little bit quickly. Because after he got traded back to Phoenix at the end of his career, and then he just disappeared.
Right, because I think
Injury.
he's been playing in China.
Oh, maybe he did play somewhere else. I didn't know.
Somebody offered him a paycheck.
I didn't know.
Real money.
Okay.
He's still a big name out there. The Chinese go crazy. You have no idea how many old pros are playing in China. You have no idea. They still have a name out there, so they're out there playing.
Have you watched any of the big
money.
three? Have you watched
Yeah, that's some pretty funny stuff.
That's okay too. It's entertaining.
It's some pretty funny stuff because it's Ice Cube is the commissioner.
Yes, but the team owner or the team coaches and the players, and you're seeing Big Baby Davis out there swatting shots. It's really cool
and making noise.
Yeah.
Is he mic'd up, or they just have big mics on the sides?
No, couple of the players are mic'd
up. Yeah,
which is cool because you're hearing it. I mean, it's the way it should be.
Basketball is basketball. It's ultimately entertaining. And it's also worldwide. But you know what else is also worldwide? Segway time.
Oh.
Like how I smoothly transition into tennis, into the Wimbledon Championships, the men's final, and your winner and 5-time Wimbledon champion.
Wimbledon with a D.
No T's.
Gotcha.
What is wrong with you?
I wanted to add a T in there.
American. He's an American.
Speaking of letters for names.
It's okay.
Okay, go. Spell it, because I had to write it down. Oh, you don't have to. DJ. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead. It's
No, go ahead. It's DJ, which you
DJ.
should know very well. That's pretty easy. Okay. That makes
Djokovic.
sense, too. And then
Djokovic.
Djokovic. So, yeah, Djokovic.
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 Djokovic. Okay. Well, anyway, 5-time champion.
That's it. They call him the Joker, of course.
Yes.
Because we have to put a cartoon character on everything.
His 16th overall Grand Slam title. Not Grand Slam title, but the individual titles. The same as in golf, is you need to win all 4 to get the Grand Slam. Is that how it works?
Is that his 16th overall Grand Slam?
Not
title?
Grand Slam, his 16th overall title. He's got the 5 Wimbledons.
5 Wimbledons.
In those, I'm sure there's some U.S. Opens, the French, and the other major tournament that they
won.
run.
French Open.
And maybe he didn't. I'm guessing. But anyway, he's
not a big tennis guy. Except
he's
for
got
the big ones
16 titles. The guy he played, Federer, he had 20.
Right.
Coming into today.
Right.
So, and obviously he's got, I think, 8.
Well, I watched various parts of this.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the entirety of the first set, which was tiring. I was gassed watching them. 7-6 Djokovic.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched some of the second set, and I had to go run errands. I'm sorry. I had to go. I was like, this is going to go forever. I told my roommate, I said, this is going to go 4 or 5 sets easily. These guys, they do it all the time. I come back an hour and a half later, and they're just wrapping up the 5th set, going into the tiebreaker, the 12-point tiebreaker.
Whatever the hell it was.
Exhausting.
Well, this happened to be the longest Wimbledon's final match ever.
No shit.
Yeah, I think 4 hours and 57 minutes. Okay.
Took a chunk out of my TV time.
And first time that you had a 5th set tiebreaker in any Wimbledon to this point. So just 2 fun facts about Wimbledon that you may not have known.
Right, they had double tiebreakers. The first one was first to 12, but you got to win by 2.
Yes.
And then you go to the second tiebreaker, which is first to 7, period. And that was honestly, it was a marathon.
Max effort.
It was imposing your will. It really was. Hey, kudos. Not that we're huge tennis guys, but you know what? We've got to have a trending hashtag, and why not? It was actually very impressive.
Yeah, you have to recognize, obviously, supreme talent and domination in your sport, and those guys are clearly the 2 best.
What do we got? We got 3 guys right now. We got 3 guys at the top. That's Rafael Nadal.
Is he hurt? Isn't he hurt right now?
No, actually, he went out in the semis. He lost in the semis to Federer.
Okay, I thought he was hurt prior.
They were in the same bracket.
Okay.
There should be 3 brackets for these guys.
Gotcha.
Okay, he's the king of the clay court.
Mm-hmm.
If it's got the orange stuff on it, you're going to lose to him. He owns it.
Yes.
And you have Federer and you have Djokovic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When is there another comparable time in tennis history that you had 3 such dominant players?
Probably the late 70s, early 80s when you had McEnroe and Borg and...
Mid-70s to mid-80s?
Yeah, there's another one. You had Ivan Lendl, I believe. Those were the 3 names
was
at
later
that.
in the 80s.
Later in the 80s?
You had McEnroe, Borg, and Connors.
Right, those guys, right.
Okay, but Connors was going at it since the early 70s. But the 3
Right.
of them... that was a pretty.
Then the next groupings were Sampras, who dominated. Obviously, he had all the records till Federer came along.
He was the first. He was the first of the super athletes.
Right. It was Pete Sampras, and it was
Size
Jim
of a
Courier, and who were the other guys that were dominant? In maybe the '90s, and there was another guy in there somewhere too. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, tennis has had its run.
And Franco Harris and Dan Marino.
Fred Bilentikov and
Dan Marino played golf.
Yeah, and who else?
See, now you can tell we're lost. Okay,
Larry
well, you know
Zonka.
what? We're gonna find our way. We're gonna find our way back to something we know
And start talking.
And we will start talking fantasy football here on the Sports Desk right after this. Toronto Radio. You know what would really help is if we had ourselves in the cue screen. The producer sucks, but I'm the host, so I don't suck, right? Is that how it goes? I'm the host.
Sure, you are the host.
I don't suck, and you're the Maz, and you definitely don't suck. Are you happy that we managed to work our way alive out of a tennis segment?
Yes.
I mean, we know a little. I mean, we know all the,
last week it was women's soccer. This week it's tennis. Next week, what do you think? I'm not going to be here next week.
I'm getting in touch with my feelings.
All right.
I'm on my sensitive side. I'm so sensitive now that we're going to change the time of the show. Still going to be on Sundays, but now with the looming football season, we are going to move the show to 11 a.m. Eastern time. 11 a.m. East. Get that? EST, Eastern Standard Time. Or is it? It's Eastern Standard Time, right? It's not daylight. Daylight savings time happens in
twice
November.
a year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we hate it. It sucks.
Yeah.
But we're moving it for the purpose of the 11 o'clock start will get us directly into fantasy football. For those of you who are now cringing, going, "What? You're not going to cover tennis and golf and women's soccer?" And well, that's what you cover when there's no football, right?
That's why they have the internet. There's lots of search engines you can find all that good stuff on.
But
just not here.
We're football guys.
Yeah.
We're fantasy football guys.
Oh yeah.
He's there's not going to be an intervention because he's good at it.
We're talking daily and season long.
I'm not going to worry about you until you're at least a single wide. If you've downgraded your lifestyle to a single wide and a 10-year-old Cadillac that's burning oil. Oh no, that's my 10-year-old Cadillac that's burning oil. Then I'll worry about you. But you're not, and you are an expert at something that has taken the world now by storm. They actually have fantasy football in China.
Really?
Yes.
I believe it. Why not?
Yes. It's
and
a
the
way
government
to gamble.
and they regulate it, I'm sure, obviously.
It's a way to gamble.
Hell yeah.
You've been to Las Vegas, right?
Actually, no, I've never been to Las Vegas.
Oh my God. Let me just tell you this. Chinese tourists.
I bet.
Oh my God.
Literally.
If you were to bar Chinese tourists from going to Las Vegas, some of the places would have to close down.
Now, I'm sure it's not. Is it a lot of Asian influence too? It's a lot of like Singapore. I know has casinos all over the country.
Yeah, there's Japanese.
So it's a lot of Eastern Asian influence.
Chinese people and Asian people in general, they like to play games of chance.
Sure.
Okay, their culture doesn't shun it the way that we do. So it's either you're good at it and you can play it, or you can afford it. Or I don't think they have Gamblers Anonymous in China. I really don't.
No.
I don't think you're going to go to Bangkok and see Gamblers Anonymous.
Probably not.
But it's not gambling if you know what you're doing.
There are edges to be had, and I'm finding out, learning the ways through my fantasy approach to be able to, for lack of better terms, parlay that information and knowledge into some of the sports gambling as well. It's not an aggressive approach. It's not taking every game on the board. It's just looking at particular angles that develop through the week from whatever sources of information we gather that are going to give us the edges, hopefully, on certain things. And certainly using certain things that I've learned along the way, I don't want to call them tricks, certain methods, certain approaches that I use.
It is methods.
It's consistency.
There's a science to it.
To a large degree, that's what it is. It's numbers. So it's just breaking down the numbers. It's learning about, what values are to be had in certain situations. And again, it's not always about making a number of bets or a number of things that you're going to get involved. It's just making the smart choices. And that's fantasy, and that's also in sports gambling.
What we got to do is we've got to get you one of those double selfie sticks like that dude in the what was that show? The show on Showtime. But and let me tell you right now,
here we go.
The top 50 buyers. They get my top 5 picks of the day, my hot picks, and he's got like the double selfie stick. And he does these
cool. Yeah.
He does these drops like every 8 to 10 minutes.
What we're going to do...
That's his job on a Sunday morning.
One of the fantasy tools we'll use, and this is a tool I guess it will be, is we're going to have an account that we're going to open on DraftKings. that we are going to use as a baseline platform that's going to be public to everybody's information. Our lineup, what we're going to put in, we're going to come into a consensus lineup here based on all the information we gather, and then through that teach money management, teach obviously how we got to the lineups we got to eventually. So that's going to be kind of like an instrumental / way for you to guys to keep along and to build hopefully confidence in what it is that we're doing. So learn the approach as well.
Right, week to week.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, obviously. And it's just going to be football based. So that'll just be another part of what it is that we're going to bring to.
Right. And now what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to take a short hiatus for next week because you're out of town.
I'm out of town, yeah.
And we're rebranding. We're going to rebrand the show. We're gonna rebrand it with some of this stuff right here. But yeah, there's stuff going on right now.
Yeah. Now
and you get to enjoy this format as it is now. But right now, this is us imparting some of the wisdom, some of the intel, the information, and the methodologies.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do that week to week starting on the 26th at 11 a.m.,
mm-hmm.
July 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go through the preseason of the NFL because things will start to develop. And we'll start. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean. Sorry,
that's okay.
Suddenly, it turns slapstick.
People, I mean, listen. I would say the breakdown is probably 90% to 10% in terms of who is in at least in like the weekly long leagues and
right.
the draft parties. Everybody goes to that's so exciting. We're going to certainly prepare for that too. We're going to get you ready for your drafts.
Right.
So we're going to have information and
your leagues, your keeper teams.
Yeah, those and some guys are in keepers. And again, we're going to go into all that into types of leagues as well. So maybe you're just wanting to get into fantasy as well. I mean, we're going to hit the entire gamut. And then obviously the other 10%, hopefully that number will be growing, is the daily content, which in football it's weekly still, except for you've got Thursday slates and Monday slates, which you'll get into, and certainly we'll get into.
We're going to help you win the office league.
Yeah.
We're going to help you win the warehouse league.
Yeah, this is no joke.
Yeah, the whole building league. If your apartment complex, your condo complex has a league, we're going to help you win that bitch too.
And the effort that we're going to put into this and is going to be worth your time. And hopefully we can get our show set in a way where it's broken into segments where if people want to go back and archive it, they know where to go approximately to find fantasy information.
Don't worry, I'll title it
sports gambling information, stuff like that. So looking forward to get that started.
Yeah, I'm
going
to title it as such too because what we're going to do is we're going to break the information down and the methodology down. Even before the first week of the NFL, we're going to try to have most of it in by that last weekend of the preseason because that's where all the drafts are happening.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we're going to have it. Maybe we'll have a draft special.
For sure. Oh, for sure. We'll definitely have maybe the week prior, but we'll definitely get into a schedule. And once I get back next week, we'll sit down prior to that show. And
I know that we probably have 2 drafts that day.
Yeah, on that
Sunday.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we probably have 2 drafts that Sunday.
Yeah.
So we may have to do an early special.
You know, because I'm glad we were able to mention this and get that show mentioned and hopefully obviously get that thing off the ground. We only have a few minutes left here. Can I throw a teaser out there in terms of some information in terms of what I want to do to get information out to help for, let's say, season-long leads, guys getting ready for their draft? Just an example, just of 2 things that I've learned over the years that have helped me, put me in better position to make better picks. So
you hate quarterbacks.
Well, see, here's the thing. Let me just very simply say this. A lot of us get into drafts, round 7, round 8, round 9. We're following what teams are doing and what players have taken. And we get caught up in runs, okay? It's usually, let's say, the quarterback is a popular run. Okay, if you look at every draft, every year, and then go into the results of every draft, every year, you can pretty much get a baseline for where these quarterbacks are going to end up.
Yeah, Frank.
And if you're not basically going to be reaching at some point for like the top 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks, because that's how it breaks down, and I'll get into how that becomes important and where they are in tiers and levels. But let's just
Breeze and Rodgers.
It's not even Brady's going as the 12th quarterback off the board right now in most drafts. It's not even him.
Breeze, Rodgers,
and Mahomes. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And again, but
St. Patrick.
My point is this: is that these famous quarterback runs. Do not let the draft in that particular way dictate how you're going to draft. And what I mean by that is reaching for a player because you feel like you need to fill a position on your team because you don't have that position filled, or you feel like that all the good quarterbacks are going to be taken. Okay, and that's a simplistic approach. Now, what I mean by that is, again, what people have to realize that in all these positions,
I know what you're about to say. Pay attention, kids. Get a fucking pen out. Take some notes.
in order to establish a value between players within their positions, you have to look at point differential. Okay. Now, obviously, a quarterback, let's say, and these are just numbers we're throwing out there. Let's say Aaron Rodgers was the number one quarterback.
Brett Favre has got an established record.
He does. But let's just say last year, Aaron Rodgers led the league and led point scoring for quarterbacks. Let's say he was at 500 points.
Right.
And let's say Drew Brees came second at 490 points.
Right.
Okay. Let's say the third quarterback was 480 points. What I'm saying is that once you establish the point differential between positions, there may not be much of a difference between quarterback, let's say 7, whoever that may be, and let's say quarterback 13, whoever that may be. Once you get down to that next tier, the point differential may only be just 1 or 2 or 3 points per week. What I'm saying is that don't get caught up necessarily in trying to fill a position on your team just because you see other players at those positions being drafted. And quarterback is a popular one.
Oh, defense.
Defense is
crazy.
That's the other one, too.
It's insane. Eighth round, somebody gets antsy and goes, Baltimore Ravens.
I do not care.
All the time.
Whoever's team defense is ranked number 1 coming into the year, I don't care if they've got 2 guys on the D-line that are going to get 15 sacks this year. If you are
Good for you.
in the top half of your league drafting a team defense this year, you need to retire from fantasy football. Okay.
No. You need to play in leagues that we play in. We like those people.
Well, okay, that too. But please.
We love those people.
Now, again, this is another one, defensive runs. This is far worse than quarterback runs because quarterbacks put up far more points than defenses do. But this illustrates my point even further with point differential. There is very little point differential between defenses towards the top of your league every year and defenses towards the bottom of your league every year. And I'm sure if we look back and we can find these numbers out that besides just taking a middle-tier defense and then perhaps using some positive streaming options during the year, which takes a little bit of homework.
I like streaming. Streaming is fun.
Your defense is not a priority in your draft.
Not really.
Okay, so don't wait.
In no draft.
Don't waste a 12th round, 11th round pick, a 13th, whatever it is. Please don't pick the defense.
I think I got caught up in a rush. There was one draft where I had the wraparound. I had the 12th pick, and then I had the snake draft. I had back-to-back picks, and I got caught up in a rush. And my second pick was a defense because 3 defenses went before me. I went away from defense at 11, and I still picked one up because of everybody had a defense.
Defenses and kickers.
Yeah,
if kickers are still in your league.
And with the 11th pick in the 4th round.
What I love, too, is the guy that yells great pick in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
Great pick. Great pick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a great pick. Just stop. Don't be a great pick guy. All right. Don't yell that you're a great pick guy. All right. I made my pick. Maybe it will be a great pick, but don't be that guy.
You know we're going to be at a draft where there's a half a dozen great pick guys.
I just don't be great pick guy.
Well, they're there. They're there every year.
I bet you first defense taken, second quarterback taken, great pick guy, all the same person. I think all those guys are in every draft. I really do. I think those are the guys that you want to sit next to because those are the guys.
Oh, that's a good pick.
That you definitely, you want those guys close. Just a real quick example again of like a little kind of, I don't know if we call it a trick again, methodology. But again, what I was alluding to earlier, you get into later rounds. And let's say you're stuck between receivers, okay? Let's say you've got a couple of guys, 3-4 guys that you're eyeing, tier 3 guys. Some of the things that I go through that will maybe help check a box to make my decision better.
Ease of schedule.
One of them, for sure, definitely, if you've got that. But again, that's arbitrary, too, because you don't know what a team's going to look like even 3 or 4 weeks from now. The NFL is almost broken into 4 seasons, in my opinion, because it's the first 4 games, teams assess where they're at and such. But one of the things I look at is the team's defense, okay? If the defense for that team that you want to play from on the offensive side is really, really bad, guess what that offense is going to have to do? Score points.
A lot.
And they get to score it in 2 ways. 1, just by being efficient, and 2, one of my favorite fantasy ways to score points is garbage time. So you got guys that accumulate tons of points just on garbage time alone.
One of my favorite all-time seasons. Of course, it was a season that I won at the club's championship.
Right.
It was Drew Brees, and the New Orleans defense was atrocious. Every game was a shootout. Seriously, I think that their low-scoring game that year was like 27. Okay? Every game was a shootout. And once we got to the playoffs, Drew Brees didn't score less than 45 points.
Yeah.
Okay, he dropped like 70.
Their defense was terrible.
It was great.
Well, I mean, that's an example of that. Again,
horrible defense, good offense. Go score.
Even mediocre offenses that, again, garbage time is huge. I mean, you accumulate an entire quarter worth of scoring in garbage time. On the flip side of that, you can lose it too. Teams that are dominantly offensively or teams that like to control clock. I mean,
New England Patriots.
One stat to look at is teams' possessions, because obviously, just like in any sport, you got to have the ball to score points.
True.
So team possessions is an important stat to have. And just real quick, take a look at the team's offensive lines and offensive line efficiency ratings. And you want to be taking players from teams that have above average offensive lines. Because
as a Miami Dolphin fan, I feel attacked.
Well, why? Because your quarterbacks, that's why you've had 5 quarterbacks in the last 5 years.
Just because I could probably go in and fill in for a couple of games better than some of the guys they've had on.
If you're upright, but that's my point, is the offensive lines have to
Not
be
with my
good
back right now, but it's okay.
in order for your offensive skill players to score points.
Right.
And also, obviously, running backs in later rounds. You're looking for guys with good hands, guys that are going to catch balls. Right now, the league is definitely going towards, bringing that third down back in to just catch balls, or utilizing, whoever it is that's back there that can catch balls, again, on teams that have bad defenses. So you're looking for guys that are in plus situations, running backs and receivers that can score in garbage time, essentially get those bonus points there towards the end. So just a few quick tips, not ticks, or either one, tips or tricks that can be used.
Tricks?
I'm getting closer to work. That's why.
But our tricks for kids.
Yes, it depends.
But yeah, that's listen, and always remember what number do we divide by for point differentials? 17.
Okay.
You divide by 17.
Okay.
If you take those players and their point amounts, overall point amounts for the season.
For the weeks played. Yeah, for the weeks played. Sure.
Divided by 17.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
That's going to tell you, and it's going to come out to like 1.2 points.
Points per week.
Points per week.
That's the difference you're looking for.
Points.
Now, again, especially, and you've noticed this with defenses and kickers, especially guys with no value.
Right.
They have weeks where they may get all their points in 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're looking at minuses some of the weeks. So
and they might have a week where they get -7. Cody,
kickers,
Parkey, you piece of crap.
that sounds personal.
You're still laughing about that too.
Yeah, it sounds personal. I had a kicker cost me a championship too a few years ago.
-7 points.
My kicker not only cost me a championship, but he then lost his job the next day. He got fired from the Saints.
You friggin' deserved it.
Garrett Hartley, go look it up.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Anyway.
You kicked the ball.
I'm looking forward to working my tail off to get the best content out there. So when we hit the ground running and we get a couple of weeks on our belt and guys are getting ready, girls hopefully too, get ready for their season-long drafts, that they're pumped and they've got some good information. They're ready to go.
And then after we get through all that, we start getting to the dailies. We get to the weekly.
Oh, yeah. Then we're going to make money, too, for everybody. Yeah. So totally on track. We're going to put some money in the account.
It's Christmas in July.
I'm going to teach you how to manage it. I'm going to teach us how to make money.
All that other promotional crap that you see for nightclubs and for department stores and shit like that. And that Christmas in July. No. This is Christmas in July. We're just talking about football.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is. But I think other than getting into a whole other thing, or talking about aliens, it's time to go.
Agree.
I mean, I'm late for my appointment at Area 51. Okay, so don't forget to catch us next week in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm like a mind mule, man. Just go right on the schedule. 2 weeks, 11 a.m. here on YouTube. 11 a.m. where we going to talk football. We might even talk about some of the other sports that happen like on Saturday or whatever, but
probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Unless something monumentous happens in baseball.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're moving to 11 a.m. in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, 11 a.m. And it'll be the first of many, many fantasy football and football discussions that we'll be having here on the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Make sure that you catch the Maz at MLB Joy Us.
Correct.
On Instagram.
Correct.
See how I got the at in there?
I'm not even going to say it. I've never said it anyway, the at, but it's all you.
You're such a 20th century man. You feel attacked?
I'm thinking gambling already. We got to also have we also got to have a segment called ATS, Against the Spread.
Against the Spread.
5 games every week.
Okay.
Over-unders, whatever they are, but 5
Don't
games.
mind us. We're just going to spitball. Okay, ATS.
Yeah, it's out there, and
we're going to spitball while you guys are doing this. I mean, hi. How
my
you doing?
number is going to be 62% success. That's what I'm shooting for.
Okay. Well, that's a moneymaker.
That's expert level.
Oh, expert level.
Yeah.
Okay.
62%.
Can we go now?
Yes.
Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, at Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on Instagram. Gonzo Radio Sports Desk group and fan page, community page, whatever the hell you want to call it on Facebook. But things are going to be getting renovated really, really soon. Make sure you bookmark GonzoRadioShow.com, because that's where the website is going, and we're going to be portaling through that sucker. And it's kind of a spoiler, but stuff's happening. So it's 11 a.m. on the 26th, July 26th. Our first expose of the upcoming fantasy football season for the National Football League. I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. Thanks very much for watching. That's the Maz. Say goodnight to the nice people, Maz.
Good night, nice people.
See ya.